Viktor Gyökeres has scored 17 goals and delivered 2 assists in the 43 matches that he has played with Arsenal so far this year. And it was a slow start for him as he did get adjusted to a new league and a new team. But Aaron, now he's scoring some goals, delivering some assists. Is he delivering for Arsenal what fans expected and hoped from him?
He's giving us what we wanted. He is giving Arsenal fans what they asked for. He's giving Arsenal fans what they were looking for when they said, we're going to go buy a striker this summer. Is it going to be Gyökeres? Is it going to be Šeško? Is it going to be this guy? When Gyökeres came in, it looked like he wasn't a great fit at the start. It took him a while to settle in. He looked like a duck out of the water in the Premier League. To be fair, though, a lot of players have looked like ducks out of water in the Premier League. It is an incredibly difficult league to get used to, but a couple months in, you started to see some signs that maybe he's starting to figure out the physicality, he's starting to figure out the runs that he needs to make to get on the end of balls for this Arsenal team. And the quality has started to really, really show through. His quality in finishing. He is ice cold from the penalty spot. The tireless running, the pressing that was so important and never stopped from the start. Now we're really, really seeing his finishing quality. He was doing all the right things. He just wasn't quite clicking for him. Now it's clicking for him. He's figured out the pace, the physicality, and he's everything I think Arsenal fans wanted him to be.
Right now, he is in the form of his Arsenal career. He's 5 in 3 for club and country. You think about, the hat-trick for Sweden, goal at the weekend, goal last time out as well for Arsenal. So he will want to go to sport. He'll want to put on a display. He really will. Unfortunately, so will his opposite number, Luis Suárez, the man bought to replace him. That's a different subject. But I also think, though, that Arsenal didn't adapt well to the play that Gyökeres plays. He likes to run onto things, and they're a pass team. So it's taken a period of adaptation, but I wouldn't put that all on him. I think it's equal on both parts. Now, he's got a bit of a swag. I also think he looks a little bit lighter than when he first arrived as well. This is as good a version of Viktor Gyökeres that Arsenal fans have seen so far. And if you're coming to the business end of the season, that's a good sign.
What more do you want to see from him, though?
Goals.
Because it sounds like you've been pretty satisfied, but you guys
$70 million for him to score goals.
Did you realistically think that he was going to get the same amount of goals here that he did in the Portuguese league?
Not in the Portuguese league, but be prolific. I mean, I think we should go back and see the conversations that we were having in August about this guy. This guy needs to be Arsenal's number 9 that's scoring the goals, leading in the Premier League, have that killer instinct. He's not killer, he's not cutthroat. He's a very good striker that is slowly finding his form, and now he's in the best form, like you said, Jeff. But
you could argue, Nico, that he would have scored more goals in another team. The amount of times where either he's made a run and the ball hasn't come in, so he's had to check and go back. And there's been other occasions where he's tried to adapt to the way Arsenal play. They've crossed balls in, and he's not been in the box. And the Arsenal fans are saying, well, where's the killer? Where's the striker in the box that we're looking for? So it is that period of adaptation. It's very difficult just to pick something up from here, put it there, plug it in over here, and expect it to work exactly the same.
In how many Premier League games do you think he scored?
In how many?
This season.
He
scored in
probably 14?
10?
He scored in 7 Premier League games.
Really?
Wow.
Like, that's what I'm talking about.
How many started?
I don't know, but a lot of them I've got to go through and count. But listen, this is a player that I don't think has shown his price tag or anything near those prolific numbers. And I get it. I'm not disagreeing with you guys that this is a guy that it's taken him a while to adapt. It has. I think it's very difficult to show up to an Arsenal and score those type of goals. But we were expecting an oven-ready striker, and clearly he wasn't ready to go.
All I would say to you is, what time are we? We're April. He could be the missing piece that wins Arsenal the Champions League and the Premier League. So at that point, Arsenal fans say, we should have paid 150 million for him.
Without a doubt, he can end up scoring the winning goal in the Champions League.
Yep.
In the final, and he's going to be the hero of the season, without a doubt. But that's almost like a resultist take in the grand scheme of things.
Did you say resultist?
Resultist, yeah.
Is there such a word?
I made it up, but I think it encapsulates what I'm going for
yes.
here. Yeah, and what I'm going for here. I think it's just looking at the result and seeing the how and not the why.
Yeah, I think for the price that this 60 million, that's not a ton of money in today's market. Like, top strikers go for 70, 80. Alexander Isak went for a world record fee. This also sitting on the bench.
You just remind me of something you said just there as well. There, so you're judging him, and the big three, should they buy him, Isak, or Seško? Who's had the best season out of the three?
He has. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think in the slightest Gyökeres has, at this point, been disappointing. He took an adjustment period, yes. I think Arsenal is getting what they bought. They didn't buy a world-class striker. They bought a striker who scored a lot of goals in the Portuguese league, who had a great goal record. But they did not buy a world-class striker. They did not. No one said Viktor Gyökeres is a world-class striker. They said he could fit this Arsenal system. We think he might be good in the Premier League. No one said this is a guy who's going to automatically come in and score 20 goals. But he has come in and adjusted.
I think they did, Aaron.
Automatically?
I think there was a lot of expectation.
I don't think with the way that...
Right,
I think there's expectation, but I don't think that's realistic given the way that the Premier League is, the way that Arsenal play. They don't create a ton of chances for a striker. So what we're seeing from Gyökeres, to me, is exactly what we...
I think you're underselling the expectations.
Yes, same pressure was applied to Erling Haaland when he arrived. Said, yeah, but he's not going to... he will come...
German league.
He'll score a ton of goals. He arrived, scored a ton of goals. So it can be done.
Year after year after year.
Was the expectation for him to score 25 goals? I think he's right on track with the expectation. Oh, am I crazy here?
Yeah, I do think you're underselling the expectations of what Gyökeres was brought to do. The whole conversation was they don't have a 9, they don't have a 9. Kai Havertz has been playing the 9 in this strange, like, false 9 roaming role. And then, Mikel Arteta finally has the piece that he's been missing, their striker. This is what they need to win the Premier League. And although he's done some lifting, it hasn't been a lot of heavy lifting, and maybe that's more of a credit to Arsenal and their different methods of attack and how they can inflict damage on opponents and figure it out. I expected more from Viktor Gyökeres because I saw how good he was at Sporting. I remember that game in the Champions League against Manchester City, how unbelievable he was. Again, it's just the first season, and Arsenal very well might win the Premier League and could possibly win the Champions League. And this guy's going to be remembered for some of the goals that he scored. But he hasn't been as prolific, especially in the Prem. Again, he's only scored in 7 Premier League games the entire season.
I think you've just been hurt so many times that you're being realistic.
I'm always going to be realistic. Yeah, this is honestly, I'm incredibly happy with what we got out of him. I didn't think we were going to get 40 goals in a season. He came from Portugal. You know what the numbers drop is when we do that? I think he's been fantastic so far.
Well, Gyökeres' replacement at Sporting CP, I don't know what the expectation was for him coming in, but I have no doubt that he's probably exceeding what he's doing now at Sporting CP. Is the Colombian Luis Suárez.
He's peaking at the right time for Colombia. These numbers don't happen just because you play in the Portuguese league. You know how many players have gone through Benfica, Porto, Sporting, and not been able to put up these numbers? I think Viktor Gyökeres is near the ceiling of that type of player that just scored for fun. But I think it comes to show you that Sporting have a good system set up where they can find somebody hungry. He came from the 2nd division in Spain, Luis Suárez in Almeria, I believe, and showed up and scored, again, prolific numbers.
I love his attitude. He said, being labelled as the guy bought to replace Viktor Gyökeres, but he took it on. He said, when he first got there, he didn't have the maturity. I think his temperament was questionable, but he settles into it. I think he'll be looking forward to this game as much as Gyökeres for the same reasons. Gyökeres wanted to prove a point, and him wanted to prove a point as well. I think it's a fabulous matchup of two. He's the more informed striker of the two, you'd have to say, if you look at his numbers across the season.
Without a doubt.
But equally, don't forget, Arsenal 2024 wiped the floor with them 5-1. They've never beaten Arsenal, I think I'm right in saying. So we'll see. What we'll see here is a real contrast in styles, and there's all the pressure is on Arsenal here. Now, inside of Sporting and inside of Portugal, the football fans wouldn't thank me for saying that. But all the pressure is on Arsenal in these two legs.
How much more pressure is on them to really set the tone in the first leg in this one? Because in the last stage, it was tied against Bayer Leverkusen on the road. So they didn't set themselves up a good margin going into the second leg.
Yeah, it's a good point, Claudia. But Arsenal are still the only undefeated team in the Champions League. So they will, if they come away with just a draw, they're not going to be too downbeat, and they will fancy themselves to turn it around. Both of these teams have the same objective, and that's to still be in the tie come the second leg. It goes for all 4 games that we're going to see in the next 2 days. But it's all about Arsenal's mentality going into this game. They've got to forget all of the noise. They've got to forget, because all this talk, I mean, Aaron touched on it just now, where we mounted a very stout and manful defence, I felt, Aaron, between us. When you look, last time out in the Premier League, Arsenal won and City dropped points. Last 6 games, Arsenal and Man City have identical records.
Yeah.
You look at Arsenal, the games they have remaining in the Premier League, bar Man City they drew with, they won all of them. Mm-hmm. Man City, the remaining games, they lost to Aston Villa and they drew with Chelsea. Got to play them again as well. So it's a completely different kettle of fish. Yes, the Champions League, this will have an effect on it. Arsenal just lost 2 games back-to-back for the first time this season. They do not want it to be a third. But it's a separate competition. It'll be a completely different lineup to Southampton. It's about which Arsenal turn up.
Jeff, I think there's 2 realities going on with Arsenal. There's the reality in the media, and there's the reality that's happening within the dressing room that only the players and Arteta knows. Because from a media perspective, everyone has built Arsenal up, especially from the beginning of the season when they got on this run. We've talked about the depth of this team, how they must win the Premier League, and now they're in a prime position to do so. And it almost feels like with every loss, we've built Arsenal up just to bring them down. And a season's not going to be perfect. No. Unless you're Bayer Leverkusen from last year. You're going to stumble on the way towards a title. I think that's absolutely normal. And the moments like out of the FA Cup, losing in the EFL final, these things serve for the media to chip away at Arsenal. And that's fine, because I think you can question a team from a journalistic perspective, but then how do you handle that on the inside? How do you handle perhaps not walking away with a win in Lisbon into the next stage, into the second leg, and getting the job done as a team?
I've got a question for you. What's the bigger game for Arsenal this week? Is it Sporting or Bournemouth on Saturday?
For me, it's Bournemouth. Yeah, because the league is the objective. It's so important for them not to drop points to get results in the league. Champions League is secondary. If Arsenal were to win Champions League, that would be an incredible miracle, would be an incredible feat. But to win the Premier League is the objective.
I think that's the wrong mentality, and I don't think that's what Arteta has in mind, to be honest.
He asked me what I think, which game is more important.
Sure.
I don't think that the question wasn't which game are they focusing on, which one do they think is more important. In terms of 2 results, personally, it's the Bournemouth.
I think the answer for Arsenal is the next game, because they're that.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question.
Yeah. I think they have a setup. And when you compare it to the rest of the quality around Europe, where they can figure this out.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount Plus.